Today we're finishing up Luke chapter 8 together. We're in verses 40 all the way to the end of 56. Now today we are going to be looking at two people who out of desperation reached out to Jesus. They show bold faith in who they know Jesus, who they hope, they have faith in who Jesus is. So the first person that we see come onto the scene is a man named Jairus. He was a ruler of the local synagogue, and basically what that meant is he presided over the normal workings of the synagogue. So he planned services and all that kind of stuff. And he has a daughter who's dying. And so he goes to Jesus hoping that Jesus can heal his only daughter. Now, it's important to note that people probably didn't know that Jairus believed in Jesus until this moment that he went and reached out to him. Now, the second person is a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, and she had gone to so many different options and places in order to find healing, but nothing had worked. Now, it's important to note here too that this condition would have made her ceremonially unclean in society. And so this would have made her a complete outcast. People would have stayed away from her. She had to quarantine herself from society. And so this would have cut her off from community as a whole. So, can you imagine and feel the desperation in both of these situations? Jairus comes to Jesus first and pleads with him to come to his home to heal his daughter. And Jesus starts to go with him, but as he goes, crowds are coming in around Jesus because they want to see Jesus, and Jesus feels that someone touches him. And that is where the woman comes in on the scene. We're going to start in verse 44 all the way to 48. Coming up behind Jesus, she touched the fringe of his robe. Immediately the bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. Everyone denied it, and Peter said, "Master, this whole crowd is pressing up against you." But Jesus said, "Someone deliberately touched me, for I felt healing power go out from me." When the woman realized that she could not stay hidden, she began to tremble and fell to her knees in front of him. The whole crowd heard her explain why she had touched him and that she had been immediately healed. "Daughter," he said to her, "your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Wow. Let's back up a little bit here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this woman's condition would have made her ceremonially unclean. People believed that if she came in contact with anyone, that they too would be made ceremonially unclean, and therefore they wouldn't have been able to participate in any of Israel's worship for a time until they made themselves clean again. So, as soon as the woman reaches out to Jesus' robe, she is healed. Jesus doesn't become unclean. Her faith in who she thinks he is heals her. And as we continue to read, Jesus makes a point to talk about what has happened so that people would know that it wasn't out of some magical power that his robe had that made her healed, but that it was her faith in who he was that healed her. Now, his words make it clear, Jesus' words make it clear that it wasn't only a physical healing that took place, but that she was healed spiritually as well. She was made clean. And this is a pattern that we continue to see in the Gospels. As Jesus heals, he cares about the physical healing that takes place in the person, but he heals in that way to show evidence of what spiritual healing he does. Jesus came to make people clean, to heal them from the effects of sin. Now, we didn't forget about Jairus. He is witnessing everything that's happening with this woman. And as everything is unfolding, someone comes and tells him that his daughter has died. Now, Jesus then says to Jairus in verse 50, he says this, "Don't be afraid. Just have faith and she will be healed." Don't be afraid and your daughter will be healed. Jesus then travels back with Jairus to his home, and long story short, he ends up healing his daughter. And just as in the case with the woman, it was Jairus' faith in who Jesus was that healed his daughter. Look at how bold both the woman and Jairus' faith were. They believed with their whole hearts that Jesus could bring about healing. What do you think our lives would look like if we lived with that kind of bold faith? I don't think that I display that kind of faith in my own life. I think I can put my own human limitations on God at times. And instead of believing with every ounce of my being that He is my miracle working, healing God. And so my question for you and I today is, how can we live today, this week even, with that kind of bold faith? Let your faith overcome your fear, and let's trust in who God is.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.